Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Miniart. And this is a kit in 1/35 scale. It copies Tramway EX series in its mid type, and it might be handy for a civil diorama in 1/35 scale. It might be an interesting project, and we have a commercial sample here, so it means you will get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review, and we are going to open it together and see what is actually supplied in this box. So first of all, I have to note that this package is really heavy, surprisingly heavy, even though parts count shouldn't be big for the Tramway. And as you can see, there are no figures included, it's only Tramway itself. You will have to get figures separately. And box art is really beautiful. Here you can see comparison with my hand. It's a standard box size for Miniart kits. We have a short list of the features, so there are 8 decal options, and obviously this is not a toy as it's written there. Next, on the side we have some information about manufacturer, also some safety advices in 3 languages, and of course barcode and QR code. I guess they will lead you to the kit info page. Here we continue. By the way, kit number is 38026, and here we have all marking options which are included into the kit. Obviously you're not limited by these markings only, you can find something different in case you have some reference photos. Feel free to copy them in this build, but these options are also viable, I would say. As you can see, there are a lot of different colors, and of course it will be interesting to assemble them into the scale model. So this is a top opening box. Just give me a second to open it. And as you can see, we have all plastic frames packed into a single plastic bag. And then on the bottom of the box we have assembly manual, which we will check later. Of course, everything should be started by cutting this plastic bag, so just give me a second because it's a sealed plastic bag, so I need to cut through. Yeah, I do. I was confused because I saw that finally they used the resealable plastic bag, but it just looked like a resealable plastic bag. In reality, it's a normal sealed plastic bag, so just give me a sec. And by the way, we have here bag in a bag, so it's also quite a funny packaging style. Okay, so I opened the first plastic bag. Now I'm removing this internal plastic bag. Just give me a sec. As you can see, that's what happens because it is sealed from the opposite side as well, and it's sealed with the second bag inside. And basically you tear apart this plastic bag, you won't be able to use it again. And just wanted to know that you won't be surprised by this. And now I'm opening. By the way, I'm not sure why it was packed like this, because we have basically the same plastic bag again, so they just used 2 plastic bags at once. So I'm removing all sprues out of the bag, and we will check them one by one. Okay, so now I have to place everything somehow around me. And we are going to start with the gray plastic sprues. I will place this one first. Let's place the sticker here. So this is the first gray plastic sprue, but in the meantime, let me remind you that you can support us financially. As you know, my PC broke down recently, and that's already the 3rd day without PC, so that's why quality of the review is not that great as it was before. And you can support us by pressing this donate button or using the link in the video description, so it will direct you to the PayPal gate, and you will be free to choose how much you would like to donate us, and all this money will be used in order to upgrade or fix our equipment, or maybe get some interesting kit to be reviewed in such video review. So as I said, this is a first plastic sprue, and it is actually supplied in 2 pieces. Here is the second one, and I hope it is easy to guess why, because the Tramway is basically symmetrical from both ends. So that's why we have the same set of parts here and there. As you can see, this is a large floor panel. We have roof panel here. That's the, let's say, front and rear face. It depends how you look at the wagon. Here we have also chassis bar, and everything looks cool in my opinion. So let's zoom in so that you can see all these parts a bit closer. Molding quality is really good, but you can note the amount of attachment points. and it will be a really thing to clean all these stubs which are usually left after attachment points disconnection, but it's not difficult, it's a bit tedious, so be ready for that. As you can see, we have also nice external features, we have panel lines, we have rivets, and for example this roof, or actually that's a floor panel, it's also nicely detailed. You can also imitate some weathering on the wooden panels. Obviously it will bring even better looking result to your model, and in 1/35 scale it will be noticeable. Even if you keep the doors closed on your wagon, still it will be visible through large windows, so definitely think about it. And here you can see these parts from the opposite side, so note that roof is also detailed from inside. That's quite funny because Miniart actually thought about this thing and they decided to bring it from inside as well. Okay, next we continue again with a set of pair sprues. It means they carry the same set of parts, so I will leave only one because they are identical, as I said before. Here we have mix of various parts. We have, for example, external panels. We have also some drivetrain parts, a lot of thin elements from what I can see. So let's zoom in into the left upper corner as usual and start from it. So again, a lot of thin parts. Be careful while separating them. Do not use plastic cutters with these parts because it will be easy to cut into the part or maybe even damage it, and then it will be tricky to fix it. As you can see, even some safety, actually this is not a safety bar, this is a rear, actually the back rest on the seat. As you can see, it is molded together with the frame, so again be careful while separating it. Here we continue with various levers. Chains are also molded out of plastic. This is really interesting. And next we continue with control levers. Maybe these are suspension. Actually, I think these are brakes, correct me if I'm wrong, but they look like brakes on this tram. Next we continue with various drivetrain parts and more of the brake parts. Here we have some external body panels, and as you remember, I hope you saw previous Tramway review on our YouTube channel. So these Tramway releases, they actually featured separate doors, which is really cool because it might be handy in case you plan to place some figures on this model. Maybe you plan to do small diorama scene. It doesn't matter, still you get this possibility and you won't have to modify the original plastic. Here we continue with the next gray plastic sprue. Let's zoom in. So the most tricky part, I hope you can guess it straight away, this one. So here we have a lot of attachment points, we have a lot of pins to clean, so be sure not to hurry with this thing because it's really tender, and I think it will be possible to carefully remove it only if you do not hurry and use the right tools. But other parts look fine, and even this thin part, it is molded in a clean way, so there is no flash or any other possible molding damage. So it's just a matter of careful separation, you will be fine with this part. Next we continue with 4 identical plastic frames. Obviously we won't check them again and again, I will show you only one because they carry the same set of parts. So here we have parts for the, let's say, drivetrain. So we have wheels, we also have the side panels which actually close all suspension parts from the side. We have leaf springs and everything looks cool. Maybe it would be a nice idea to apply some weathering on these parts. Let's zoom in. And again, you can't run away from thin parts in this kit, so be ready to work with them. Some of them might even require usage of tweezers because these handles, as you can see, comparison with my fingertip, they're really thin, and I really doubt that you will be able to apply them with bare fingers. Here we continue with leaf springs. That's the road view, and let's flip it over so that you can see it from the opposite side. I like the molding quality, but these thin parts, well, it's something you can't avoid. Well, actually, you can replace them with a metal wire in some cases, so definitely track such opportunities because it will bring, or it will speed up the assembly process, I would say. So really good thing to consider. Next we have another 4 sprues in the same part set from what I can see. So just give me a second, I'm trying to compare them. Yeah, they are. So here we have these 4 sprues. I will show you only one because here we have separate doors and we have parts for the seats. Let's zoom in. And again, we have wooden panels without wooden texture because it was like this in Rio Tramway. So in case you would like to replicate some wood weathering, you are free to do it with various paints and maybe washings. But here we do not have any wooden texture, and just to prove it, I can bring part even closer so that you can see what I'm talking about. These parts are smooth, just like the Rio counterparts. We have separate doors, as I said before, so they can be placed open on your model, and here you can check them from the opposite side. So it's not just a plain model or actually plain part from the opposite side, it is detailed the inside, and that's also a good thing to have. Okay, next we continue with 2 identical plastic frames. So these ones, I guess, will be used for the bodywork, so I'll show you only one again, because again the set of parts is the same. We have large panels, we have thin attachment points, and let's flip it over. Here you can see these parts from the opposite side. Nothing bad here, and I would say nothing interesting in a good sense. Everything is molded in a clean way, so we can move on to next set of parts. Again, double set of sprues. They're quite small. I will show one straight away because they are identical, as I said before. So here we have various parts for the suspension and also for the interior, and in my opinion they look as good as previous parts. Maybe you have to spend some time with this thin part, but that's pretty much all. By the way, maybe it is possible to replace these parts with a metal wire because they are just thin. There are no there is nothing molded. Well, there are some minor elements molded on both ends, but maybe it is easy to solve for some modelers and it will look a bit more natural. Next we have 2 identical plastic frames. I guess these ones are roof panels, maybe. So here you can see them. Note that there are some handles pre-molded. I wonder why it was done like this, because usually Miniart does include P parts, but they're not included here from what I can see. So basically these handles are pre-molded. In case you would like to, let's say, add some fine features, just feel free to send them down and replace them with a metal wire. It will be a nice upgrade, which will be visible because these panels will be actually noticeable on the finished model. Next we continue with the side panels for the Tramway. So again, I will show you only one. Just give me a sec. So here it is. The same panel goes on the opposite side. As you can see, we have rivets here. Of course, you will have to insert the clear parts. We will check them in a few seconds. And here we have wooden panels inside the Tramway, so it's not just a plain part, and nobody hoped that it won't be visible. It is detailed inside, and that's really good because you might play with interior features, with interior weathering as well. Next, we have some parts for diorama base, and yes, you heard it right, so we have some base here. So there are 2 identical plastic frames which are dedicated to light poles, and as you can see, these poles look really good, so it would be a wise idea to play with them as well, so that the whole project will be a bit more convincing. But molding quality here is on the same level as what we saw on the Tramway part, so there is nothing to worry about. And what is next? Next we have, so there are here we have 2 plastic frames with suspension parts, maybe with the main frame bars. Here you can see them. Again, we have rivets, we have thin attachment points. As for the star, it will be the part which will be applied on the nose, but pay attention, it is used not in all markings. As you can see, we have here the imitation of the light bulb inside this star, which is also cool. Maybe with some clever painting it will play with the interesting, let's say, finish. Next, I'm trying to open this plastic bag with clear parts. As you can see, it is packed together with decals. So just give me a sec to cut through this sealed plastic bag and we will check everything together. Okay. So here we have several types of clear sprues and decal sheet. First of all, I will show you decal sheet. So here it is. It comes from the Decograph, and here we have all necessary symbols for several marking options, as you remember. So as you can see, printing quality is really good, so there is nothing to complain about. Next we continue with the clear parts. So here we have not only the glasses but also lenses for headlamp. And just give me a moment to remove these two sprues which are interesting for us. Okay, so first one is dedicated to lenses and glasses on the tram. Here you can see them. Molding quality is really nice, but the only thing you have to keep in mind is that there are no masks included, so you have to mask all these parts by yourself. And why it sounds tricky? Because you have a lot of clear parts to mask. Here we have next sprue with all glasses, and there are plenty of these frames, so be ready to do some work. I really hope that there will be some aftermarket set which will solve this issue, because otherwise it will be a really tedious process which will take some time, and you can't avoid it in case you want to have a nice paintwork on your model. And the final component in this kit is this large plastic base with rails. So that's where actually the light poles will go, and maybe it would be a smart idea to add at least some figures here so that it won't look empty. But it's really cool that it is included out of the box, and I think some modders will be happy to see such bonus. And last but not the least is the assembly manual. So here it is. It comes in form of large brochure, typical for Miniart. Let's close the camera so that you won't be blinded by the white color. So we have short list of the features on the cover. There is no history note because straight away we jump to 3 marking options here and parts map. As usual, Miniart does not mark unused parts in the parts map, so pay attention and use the right elements for your tramway. Here we continue with the roof. Actually, these are floor panels. As you can see, they are connected together. Then we install the air bottles or air cylinders. Then we continue with the leaf springs and chassis bars. Then we start working on the wheel axles and engines. So as you can see, they will be assembled in between. And of course, we assemble brakes. So I was right. Next, we continue by installing this card onto the floor panel. So that was not a backrest. This is actually the special thing which is placed in front and rear. I guess it is done in order to avoid crushing somebody, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Next, we continue with the front and rear panels. So here you can see this star which I was talking about, but again, it depends on the marking. I will repeat myself. Here we continue with the floor panels, and also we assemble another front panel for the tram. We also work on the seats here. So as you can see, they get installed onto the sidewall. That's why I'm a bit confused, because it's interesting, let's say, form of showing this approach. Obviously, you'll have to do it from both sides, from one and from the opposite. As you can see here, we join them together with the front and rear panels. Then we assemble doors. And of course, do not forget that all windows will be clear, so that's where it will get funny. Next, we start working on the roof panels. So there will be even separate handles from what I can see, which is also really cool. Next, we have this air intake, which will be installed on the roof. So as you can see, we get roof on the tramway wagon itself, and then we install this air intakes. Next, we continue with this tricky thin part, which is used in order to get the electricity for the tramway. And here we start working on the light poles, which will be installed on the tramway base, where we will install this model onto the rails. Next, we continue with 2 marking options. We have also colors chart in several manufacturers' designations. And last but not the least are 3 markings, which are also quite colorful. By the way, in case you wonder, here is the marking option with the star on the nose and on the rear. Okay, so this kit should be already available. You can get it in Modelimex's webshop, for example. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about such release. Do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye!